Alright, so I just want to preface this video by saying that I've titled this as a mini review for a reason, and that's because I've only played this game for a short bit, and I don't want to claim to be making some in-depth analysis about the game. When I normally review something, I play it to completion, or in the case of games like Fallout 76, I dump a shit ton of hours into it to the point where I'm very comfortable in making a review. And after one of those games, I review my footage and sit on my thoughts for a bit, before putting everything into a written review. But for this game, I didn't do any of that, because I don't want to put myself through the pain of having to play more of this game. Resident Evil Resistance is essentially a Dead by Daylight clone, except in this one, there was one player controlling the environment, setting off traps and placing enemies, and the other 4 players have to survive and escape. Since it's just multiplayer, I'll break it up into 2 categories, the survivors and the mastermind. So when you start your game as a survivor, you are greeted by a character picking screen. You can select your character based on their abilities, or like most of these idiots did, whether or not they were wearing booty shorts. From there you begin your journey, starting off with a base weapon, and having to scavenge for ammo, health, and money. This money can be used to buy upgrades at a station, and you will need them, because some of the characters are given melee weapons as their starter, and the melee weapons in this game are the most useless things I have ever seen in a combat-focused game. They barely do any damage, and they don't even stun the enemy. So using it is essentially just asking to be bitten, because that's what will happen every single time. I really want to know what dickhead thought this was a good idea for a weapon. In fact, I want to know who thought any of the gameplay was okay, because all of it just feels like a significantly worse version of the gameplay in Resident Evil 3, to the point where I don't know how they were able to test the game without noticing how bad it was. I mean, the most interesting mechanic in Resident Evil 3 is the new dodge/roll ability, and they took it out of Resistance for no discernible reason. And since the maps are filled with these small-ass rooms and tiny corridors, it becomes an absolute clusterfuck, with 4 players and multiple zombies all standing around in this little-ass area. It's a nightmare, and the lack of any ability to dodge or evade just makes it even more painful. And then on top of that, there's a ton of connection issues and lag, and there were several times where I shot a zombie and the hit either didn't register or was delayed. As a result of this, it felt like it was just much easier for the mastermind to win every game, as they didn't have to deal with the cramped level design, terrible weapons, connection issues, and really toned down combat. Playing as a survivor was an awful experience, and after 4 games, I'd had enough, and I decided to give the mastermind mode a shot. So when I booted up the mastermind tutorial to try and learn how to play, I was greeted by a screen where you can control the security cameras and look around. Now, I am playing this on PC, but even still, the cameras have an input delay on mouse and keyboard. You move, the camera moves a second later, and it isn't even accurate, as moving your mouse to the left kind of moves the camera up and to the left. It's weird and it feels horrible, and this was only in the tutorial, because the real joy of RE Resistance only comes when you actually get to play the game. When playing as a survivor, it will take maybe a minute or 2 to matchmake, so you'll likely be able to play as part of the team, but if you want to play as the mastermind, good luck. It took so long that I was literally able to write this entire review in that time, check back, and then still be on a matchmaking screen. It was then that I realized, you know what, my time is worth more than waiting an additional 30 minutes to see if the mastermind gameplay is anything other than pure fucking ass. If a game takes 30 minutes for you to even try to play it, I don't even consider it playable. And the fact that this game even got made just really blows my mind. Weren't there perfectly fine multiplayer modes back in the old Resident Evil games? Why not just remake that? My guess is that Capcom saw the success of games like Dead by Daylight on Twitch and YouTube and wanted to cash in on something similar. And then when they made it, they realized it was an absolute abomination of a multiplayer game, and they would have a mostly negative review score on Steam if they released it as a standalone. So they bundled it with RE3 Remake and forced you to buy it if you wanted to play RE3. Thankfully, I'm not a super budget conscious gamer, and I was fine with paying full price for just Resident Evil 3. But I know others can't say the same, so for them, this is the ultimate waste of money if you are planning on playing this multiplayer mode. Resident Evil 3 Remake is a really good game that I think people should check out, but don't even waste your time opening this piece of shit Resistance. It's terrible. No, it's more than terrible. It is an absolutely appalling, brain-dead, aggravating waste of install space on my computer that should have been shot dead far before it saw the light of day. And of course, since this is a multiplayer, they gotta have their sweet in-game shop where you can buy both cosmetics and in-game upgrades.
In-game upgrades.
Mo money, mo upgrades.
Pay to get an advantage. Level up with the money.
Fantastic stuff, Capcom. Just great job.